Good afternoon. So this morning was a good morning. Price delivered very beautifully. I suggest you go and watch the live stream this morning. I called out a breaker with a fair value gap for the 10 a.m. silver bullet, and we had a lot of displacement after the 10 o'clock news. We were able to catch very easy 5 handles. Ended up going a lot more. We entered on this right here, and I believe we exited like right around here. Then we had more of a drop. This is the 5 minute. We dropped more, but if you've been following the channel, we were coming off a losing streak, so just wanted to lock in our profits. In terms of this PM session, so this was let me go to a bigger time frame. So this area, this orange area, and this red line on top of it was our draw on liquidity for the week. It is a daily fair value gap on the daily right there with this low. So this is what we were targeting when we were moving below this volume balance, and we had a big day today. A lot of this candle is actually, it started in the London session and then came all the way down. I guess most of it happened at 10 a.m. Anyways, so since we reached that objective for I guess it was our weekly objective. We've been kind of range bound for a while now, so it's kind of crazy to think about long runs like this. But so since we reached that objective for the day, I'm probably not going to take a trade in the afternoon. You can kind of see, if you go to like the 5 minute. So this was our morning. We went up, dropped, and then, it could go down further, but we don't know. It might just range bound for the rest of the day. Definitely wouldn't try and take any longs unless we showed a lot of strength above this high. If we just kind of came down, swept some liquidity, and then rocketed to the upside, maybe I would try and look for some scalps to the upside. But the direction for the day is downwards, and we reached our daily objective, which is this orange area. So as you can see, that doesn't leave us much room. The next level I have mapped out is this consequent encroachment on the weekly wick. So we've already moved a decent amount. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to sell off and go for that liquidity now that we've left this consolidation we've been in on the daily. The market's probably going to move a lot more freely, but I think ICT said, actually I remember him saying, this right here is a balanced price range, and to get through a balanced price range, it's going to take a lot of force. It will probably be like hitting behind a big news driver or a news event. This is our target below that balanced price range, this weekly fair value gap. But thinking back on how he said it's going to take a lot to get through this, we've already moved a lot today, and I'm guessing it's going to be under the guise of some kind of news release / economic data that puts us through this. So I'm if I was a betting man, I'd say we're not getting through this today. So we're a little bit exhausted to the downside so far. Another hard thing about the contracts is it starts to get real spotty. We're going backwards and that far in data. But we had a good trade this morning. I hopped on just to read price, and because I think it's always good, in case something does set up really beautifully, and to just practice some discipline and not taking a trade, which I think is always good. I think that's the best way to form discipline in trading, is to sit, watch the charts, and not trade. But if something really nice presents itself to us, maybe we will. Yeah, in terms of like downside, like I said, I don't have too many objectives to the downside, and I'm not really trying to look for like short scalps. Coming off that losing streak, I'm just trying to get some base hits to build the confidence back. Let's go to the 15 minute. So here we're on the 15 minute. I mean, we had a retracement over the lunch period. This is the lunch high. I'll go to the 5 minute. This is the lunch high, and then we have the lunch low. I mean, it's 11:55, but that's where the sell side liquidity is resting. We're taking that right now. So in terms of 2, we already came up, ran the lunch high, and now we're coming down. So we already swept liquidity to the upside. Any kind of entry now will kind of be like a continuation targeting this lower. But like I said, I'm not super interested in that. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just going to watch price for now. So if you're here watching because you want to see some trades, it might not be the right place for you. I could see us probably like coming down below this. I really think we're going to stay around this fair value gap for the day. Look over at NASDAQ. NASDAQ is a similar story. We reached our objective, which was a similar fair value gap. It was on the weekly. I kept it on the weekly. And next thing I highlighted was just sell side through these lows. It's that weekly volume imbalance. Yeah, not much to target for the downside. You have a lot of space, but NASDAQ, we have that and that. I'd actually probably be more comfortable playing NASDAQ just because I can use those lows as a target. So I'll watch the NASDAQ. NASDAQ had a similar fashion to ES right here. We took our lunch high, lunch buy side right there, came down, took sell side. Maybe something I could see happening. This would be outlined on the 1 hour chart. Let me go to the 1 hour in the top left. This order block, I could see, and maybe this wouldn't happen until the last hour of trading. So I bet this candle will print, and then the following candle, we might come up, touch the bottom of that as a wick, and then retrace back down to whatever this low is. That's one thing I could see playing out. Doesn't look as good on the 15, but we can probably use the 15-minute low. It would retrace back up to that and come down. Probably wick into this fair value gap. That's just a theory. But that's all we have for structure on the 15. It looks really heavy. We might just melt too. I could see us just looking like this. Just melting. Maybe melt up or sideways and then melt down more. We reached our liquidity objective, so it's not going to try and get anywhere too crazy fast. Even though this is a decent drop. It's hard to tell, but this is our silver bullet range, time window. For a downside trade, maybe if we retraced up and like touched the bottom of this higher time frame for value gap and then playing it back down, I could do that. But I wouldn't, me personally, I don't like the probability of taking just any fair value gap that forms to the downside. You're going to have a little more confirmation in it. Price action this morning was just really nice, though. It did the same thing 2 days in a row. So Monday, yesterday, we have this run up in London, took it, came back down, then run up again, swapped liquidity, went down. Then today, we also had in our London session, we ran up, took Monday afternoon's high, took out the London buy side, then sent it lower. Very classic. This morning was an example of the like structure where it's like obvious and we want to see it, and it's very easy to trade. And this doesn't happen every single day, but I think what I want to display on this channel even more and more is just like waiting for these days. Like, you don't have to trade every single day, because if this happens 2 times a week, bam, all the way down. And even this morning, I played it a little more conservatively, but if I had let a runner on, that would have been we won't see it here because I traded ES. But if we had let a runner on this morning, I played it conservatively, just coming off the account was in some drawdown. But waiting for amazing setups versus trying to force a setup every day. Yeah, so this is really hard price action to trade with our concepts. You have a lot of wicks in both directions, a lot of bodies overlapping each other. So I'm not expecting too much. Probably have to put a little disclaimer up in case anybody joins late. Yeah, so what would a really good setup look like? A really good setup would be something like coming up around here, touching the bottom of this higher time frame, or if we just tapped the bottom of this up close candle and then retraced, and it was kind of like we like tapped it, retraced, bounced back, and then made a lower low and shifted again. Yeah, so again, we could easily have a fair value gap form right here, retrace into it, and then come down and meet this red line, but I'm not too interested in that. It'd be crazy if it happens right a minute after I say it. That's enough to put some markers in the video. Measuring out this wick, it's the longest wick in the swing low. Get a level. So that consequent encroachment on the 1 hour. If you were following ICT's tweets today, I think he just posted, he didn't just post, but he posted 2 hours ago just a smiley face, and I think that smiley face, what he was saying was like, boom, we met our daily, which was also the weekly objective. So I think he just recently did a talk about how when that happens, we just sit on our hands, we just wait for another obvious draw on liquidity target to present itself. Let's see if it comes up into that fair value gap and goes lower like I said it would. And the fact that we just hit that consequent encroachment, like I would not be taking a short there. Remember, consequent encroachments, they act as gaps, so and just like targets for liquidity. So I could have easily just like wicked into that, and that's as far as it wanted to go. And now it's about to trap out everybody who's been short since lunch. So if we go over here on the 5-minute, we took the lunch buy side liquidity, came down, and now just everyone's trailing their stop losses. So all the shorts are trailing their stop losses. So what the algorithm would love to do is just run up against them. It could do that. It could also just drop more to seek more higher time frame liquidity by going down. Yeah, that consequent encroachment might have been the line in the sand. Again, I wouldn't even try and scalp long until we got above this liquidity raid right here, and that's a long way. That is a long way. Now I'm saying that out loud. I'm normally today I would not even be looking at the chart. I'm kind of doing it just because to document it on the channel. Again, I want this YouTube channel to kind of look. I want it to serve a purpose. And I want this video to be an example of there will be days where you should just do nothing. And that's why I've been kind of monologuing why I'm going to do nothing. And you have to be okay with that, and this could run up. This could run up like all the way up here. And you could probably find some nice entry to go off of. One entry that I would be okay with would be like this shift in market structure. And then taking like a fair value gap long, just because our stop would be so tight. So we kind of came down, took liquidity on this really high, hit this higher time frame consequent encroachment, came up, and then I'd look for like some kind of shift market structure. What I have been noticing, I was since I wasn't streaming much last week, I did take a few trades that weren't on this account. It was on another account. I needed to get some trades under my belt that I wasn't recording myself doing, just to get the mojo back. But when I was kind of looking over and like looking back on the losing streak that has been documented on this account lately, a lot of like the really good setups are also displayed on the 5 minute. It's a little key. So the 5 minutes just been a slow meltdown. So if you think about on the 5 minute, even on the 15 minute, like it would want to retrace back on some of the people who have been trailing their stops. So it's not really a change in direction. Like it's not running for new liquidity. It's just kind of pulling back, like a pullback, which sometimes isn't the best because you never know how far it's going to pull back. It's going to pull back to this candle, this candle, this candle. Like you don't know. So that can be really hard. And there's no like 5 minute swing high structure right here that we can like break confidently and then know that, oh, it's really just a change in direction. If that any of that made sense. Might not have made too much sense. It basically, a structure like this, when you don't have it on the 5 minute, it's like it's not a change in direction, it's just a retracement because we've melted down so far. And it might be like a change in direction on the 1 minute, but it's more of a retracement on the 5 because you have this low, high, lower low, higher high. You could just call this low and this whole thing a high, and then have this lower low. So we're still due for a lower high to be put in. And I guess technically this is a swing high right here, but I don't like that too much. I don't like to call that a swing high too much. It is a swing high, but okay. So if you were to play this 1 minute structure, this wick coming above this swing high would be enough to constitute a shift in structure. And then you have a fair value gap there with a breaker, a order block. So as you can see, let's see how this candle responds off these down close candles. But then again, you're trying to catch a Fallon knife, remember, because look, you really think you're going to call the bottom right here? If you do, and if like we did enter long and you did call the bottom, I mean, that's kind of lucky. Yeah, so came up, took a swing high just to go lower. You could really play both sides here. Put the little disclaimer back in view. I think another thing that helps you kind of relieve some FOMO is like actually thinking about like what model would have you have used to like enter in a trade. It's like we're going for the silver bullet. So like this was a fair value gap, but how are you going to know that's the one where it's going to form the swing low? You could I guess that's what a turtle soup is, but you'd enter on this one after the break. Then you could have put your stop below this, but that's just not super likely. Could have got 10 handles right there, so that's just not a high probability trade. Okay, I think I've accomplished the point of that I wanted getting on this live stream. Again, I'm most likely not going to be taking a trade. In terms of the rest of the week, so we have non-farm payroll on Friday. And according to ICTs, where we should stop trading Wednesday morning. So I guess tomorrow is the last day of trading for the week. I'll talk to you guys soon.